7. At the time, then, when the council of Philippus was vehemently inveighing against the cause of the nobility and the tribuneship of Drusus, undertaken to support the authority of the Senate, seemed to be shaken and weakened, I was told. I remember that Lucius Crassus, as if for the purpose of collecting his thoughts, betook himself during the days of the Roman games to his Tusculan country seat, whither also Quintus Mucius, who had been his father-in-law, is said to have come at the same time, as well as Marcus Antonius, a sharer in all the political proceedings of Crassus, and united in the closest friendship with him. There went out with Crassus himself 2 young men besides, great friends of Drusus, youths of whom our ancestors then entertained Sanguine hopes that they would maintain the dignity of their order. Cassius Cotta, who was then a candidate for the tribuneship of the people, and Publius Sulpicius, who was thought likely to stand for that office in due course. These, on the first day, conferred much together until very late in the evening concerning the condition of those times and the whole commonwealth, for which purpose they had met. Cotta repeated to me many things then prophetically lamented and noticed by the 3 of consular dignity in that conversation, so that no misfortune afterward happened to the state which they had not perceived to be hanging over it so long before. And he said that when this conversation was finished, there was such politeness shown by Crassus that after they had bathed and sat down to table, all the seriousness of the former discourse was banished. And there appeared so much pleasantry in him, and so much agreeableness in his humor, that though the early part of the day might seem to have been passed by them in the Senate house, the banquet showed all the delights of the Tusculan villa. But on the next day, when the older part of the company had taken sufficient repose and were come to their walk, he told me that Scaevola, after taking 2 or 3 turns, said, "Why should not we, Crassus, imitate Socrates in the Phaedrus of Plato? For this plane tree of yours has put me in mind of it, which diffuses its spreading boughs to overshade this place, not less widely than that did whose covert Socrates sought, and which seems to me to have grown not so much from the reveille, which is described, as from the language of Plato, and what Socrates with the hardest of feet used to do, that is, to throw himself on the grass while he delivered those sentiments which philosophers say were uttered divinely, may surely with more justice be allowed to my feet." Then Crassus rejoined, "Nay, we will yet farther consult your convenience," and called for cushions when they all said Cotta sat down at the seats that were under the plane tree. 8. There, as Cotta used to relate, in order that the minds of them all might have some relaxation from their former discourse, Crassus introduced a conversation on the study of oratory. After he had commenced in this manner, that indeed Sculpius and Cotta did not seem to need his exhortations, but rather both to deserve his praise, as they had already attained such powers as not only to excel their equals in age, but to be admitted to a comparison with their seniors. Nor does anything seem to me, he added, more noble than to be able to fix the attention of assemblies of men by speaking, to fascinate their minds, to direct their passions to whatever object the orator pleases, and to dissuade them from whatever so he desires. This particular art has constantly flourished above all others in every free state, and especially in those which have enjoyed peace and tranquility, and he has ever exercised great power. For what is so admirable as that out of an infinite multitude of men there should arise a single individual who can alone, or with only a few others, exert effectually the power which nature has granted to all? Or what is so pleasant to be heard and understood as an oration adorned and polished with those wise thoughts and weighty expressions? Or what is so striking, so astonishing as that? No. Yeah, astonishing. As that the tumults of the people, the religious feelings of judges, the gravity of the Senate should be swayed by the speech of one man, or what, moreover, is so kingly, so liberal, so munificent as to give assistance to the suppliant. Suppliant? To raise the afflicted, to bestow security, to deliver from dangers, to maintain men in the rights of citizenship. What also is so necessary as to keep arms always ready, with which you may either be protecting yourself or defy the malicious, or avenge yourself when provoked. Or consider that you may not always contemplate the forum, the benches, the rostra, and the Senate. What can be more delightful in leisure or more suited to social intercourse than elegant conversation, betraying no want of intelligence on any subject? For it is by this one gift that we are most distinguished from brute animals, that we converse together and can express our thoughts by speech. Who therefore would not justly make this an object of admiration, and think it worthy of his utmost exertions to surpass mankind themselves in that single excellence by which they claim their superiority over brutes? But that we may notice the most important point of all, what other power could either have assembled mankind when dispersed into one place, or have brought them from wild and savage life to the present humane and civilized state of society, or when cities were established, have described for them laws, judicial institutions, and rights? And that I may not mention more examples, which are almost without number, I will conclude the subject in one short sentence. For I consider that by the judgment and wisdom of the perfect orator, not only his own honor, but that of many other individuals and the welfare of the whole state are principally upheld. Go on, therefore, as you are doing, young men, and apply earnestly to the study in which you are engaged, that you may be an honor to yourselves, an advantage to your friends, and a benefit to the Republic.